Ms. Heidi, would you please share with us today about the services that Salvation Army provides?
My name's Heidi. Can you hear me? I've been with the Salvation Army for 20 years. I need inspired every Friday, and I'm trying to pull out something that Paige said. This hope, help, and healing. I love this, but it is value. If I have not learned anything over the 20 years, it is I have been so fortunate to ride a wave with folks who are suffering in some of the worst circumstances. And I felt valued being a helper, but my goodness, the relationships that were made with the people we're helping. There is value that just came out of me. Just the knowingness of watching folks in probably some of the worst circumstances they've ever experienced. We get to watch people heal often. It's an honor to be a part of their journey. I love the word she used, is value. It was a reminder for me today. Also, the whole time you were talking, Paige, I was mesmerized by those shoes. And I thought, goodness, I've got some big shoes to fill. Certainly did not plan well. Okay, the services at Salvation Army. It's been 20 years of evolution. I started back in, gosh, how old was it? Later 30s. I was a substance abuse counselor and a trained therapist working at mental health centers. There was an ad in the paper to manage the Salvation Army shelter. I had no idea what I was getting myself into. I had some idea, like holding a bowl of soup or something, and there's people coming through a line. I had no idea, no clue. First day, I get there. This is an 18-bed shelter. I have staff that work for me. We have a multitude of amazing services. And the people walking in, I fell in love. I fell in love with some of the most amazing folks who were unhoused for years, walking in with some really chronic mental health, physical health, addiction concerns, big stuff. And I was mesmerized right off the top. I'm like, I've found my people. It was a humbling experience for many years working in this role. I quickly found out that I was necessary and I better get on with it. I may be managing a shelter, but there were so many other services that need to happen internally. We had to be there for our people. We're providing beds, we're providing respite from an icky situation for a lot of folks. But we have to integrate that with healing and services and so many things over the years that came out that's like we don't have enough bed space or we don't have enough maybe healers in the building. For 10 years, I was the emergency shelter manager. At one point then, probably, I think it was in 2012, we built a new building, a new emergency shelter. At that point, there was a lot of office space on the other side. I was very fortunate to move into a director's role. I'm now the regional social services director, so I also have Hannibal Salvation Army too. I'm going to say in the last 6-7 years, it was kind of a bulldozer trying to find more and more services for our people. Rapid rehousing, shelter diversion, homeless prevention. You've heard of these services. These are state for state push services. The titles were heavy, active, and very included in our COCs in both the Hannibal and Quincy area. Those grants help people move from emergency shelter into stabilized housing. I don't want to call us an expert, but we've certainly learned a lot. We've maintained contracts with our states for several years. I've learned so many things from grant managers. Again, the most I've learned has been from our clientele. Fast forward a couple years ago, at one point I'm going home from work. I'm living on a prayer. I'm literally the Bon Jovi song. How am I going to make it to Friday? It was humbling, but I am watching people suffer and struggle more and more and more with addiction issues. I'm in over my head. I know it. I need to figure out something, create a program. I need help. And it is so important in a leadership role to identify when you do. I'm leaning on the staff I have. I'm leaning on even clients. What can we do for you? What do we need to create? How can we manage this? We are creating relationships very long-term with our folks. It may be a 30 to 60-day emergency shelter stay, but we care about our people. There is value. There's reciprocity with this value. I feel valued. It's been the most amazing healing thing for me as a person to participate with our guys and gals. Wonderful human beings. But again, I'm drowning. Don't have enough time. Can't get it all done. It was probably the best thing I have ever done was layer a new program, integrate a program into the Salvation Army services in Quincy. We created a peer support program. I knew I needed somebody that understood, that has experienced that same suffering, that same struggle, and knows how to make their way out, survive, moved into thrive. Thriving person, knows how to walk that walk, can help me with other folks, even if it is finding resources but walking in a path. That is an honorable position to be in when someone asks you or allows you to help in that way. I know that. We created a peer support position. Didn't really know what I was doing. I want to say I did, but I really didn't. I knew the term. I knew what I was looking for, but how am I going to create this? Did a couple interviews with some people, little still disappointed, trying to figure out what's coming next. Then I have Josh walk in my door. It was probably the weirdest interview he's ever sat through. Still didn't know what I was doing, not sure what I was looking for, but about 3 minutes in, I'm like, it's that guy. That's the guy I'm looking for. This is the guy that's going to make sure I make it to Friday during the week. This is the guy that's going to help our people. He's going to help our people. I have watched over the last year amazing transformations occur within the folks we're serving. We've created so many programs with the peer support program. We have an opioid epidemic funding. We asked for some funding and assistance through the Adams County Health Department that created a pool of funding to assist with rental assistance and long-term assistance. So that's been beautiful. NA programs, rap groups, we're doing all of the stuff we're supposed to be doing in-house, and we're seeing really, really good results. Not to get too far off the path, but that is another program that we've created. We also have a long-term case management. It's called a Pathway of Hope program. We work with families, with children, long-term. It's kind of stepping in, again, walking a path, but also creating goals, trying to stabilize households, provide all of the services that we can and refer to for families with children. I don't know that I've left anything out. I will say that currently, I feel like we're functioning really well. We've got tons of services in the building. There's a lot of contracts, internal mental health services. We have a partnership with SIU, so we have medical assistance on site. We're really trying to create a hub of healing internally in our building in a small, tight space, but we're pulling it off. The bed spaces at emergency shelter, we've got a lot of push to expand constantly. I can't create enough beds. I think transitional beds became, of course, an important addition. Some of our guys expecting a 30 to 60 day complete renewal, but also creating housing stabilization. It's almost impossible. So we did create some transitional beds and hoping to add a couple of more. Creating qualifications for those beds. Initially, when I was asked to talk about homelessness, I thought, oh, I've got lots of statistics. I can talk about all the things changing in government. But that's something you can Google. I think the big thing I need to say to everyone is to maybe launch off what you're saying. Some of us, we go to work. We're trying hard. We're trying hard to help. We're digging in. We're in the trenches, rolling up our sleeves. But it has been, God created a blessing for me through that. I didn't know it. I didn't know it when I applied. I didn't know it when I started working, but I'm watching it. I'm watching it over time. There's a lot of peace in my heart too sometimes where I think, wow, what I'm watching and that transformation occur, that's God. That's God's intervention. God's helping through us. There were prayers for years. Just help me out. Help me be your hands and feet. Let me do what I need to do. I don't know sometimes if I can make it through Friday, but I have. I've made it 100% of my days. And I think that with the help, the assistance, all of the services we've created, I get a peaceful night's sleep on Friday. Is there any questions for me? Can I expand on any of the comments I made or services? Do you have anything you want to add? No. Josh is amazing, by the way. Amazing. I've been so appreciative to work alongside him. He is our peer support specialist, but he has moved in his position up to our shelter manager. He's kind of elevated himself internally, and I could not have handed it over to a better person or candidate. So I'm really watching him loving on our guys and making things happen. Go ahead. I mean, stupid salvation. I think those were big, kind of a promoting language back in the day. Yeah, okay, here's what I'm gonna say. I've been very proud to work for this organization. They've taught me so many things. There's definitely a heavy spiritual component and connecting with that. I think each core kind of functions differently. In Quincy, we're kind of the homeless services hub. But I don't know that all cores have similar services, but they have services. We have in Hannibal, our family services department there. There isn't a shelter, but we do have more homeless preventative assistance and financial assistance. The history of the Salvation Army, it's been pretty amazing when you read about it, and here we're still standing and going strong. I do think that the work that we do, I'm shocked. I Google Salvation Army and what's going on in that core and that core, somehow giving me maybe ideas of how to expand services. But amazing things going on all over the country. It is we're national, but we're also worldwide. We're a worldwide organization. We do so many different things. I think that what I see mostly is Salvation Armies in their areas are creating safety nets in communities. So what's needed? What is needed? I inherited the shelter. I didn't create it. But like I said, eventually I'm sort of drowning in some of these services. I may have a shelter, but I need more. I need more help. I need more help internally. So it is paying attention to your community, your client needs. They speak to you, they'll tell you. When you feel like you're drowning, it's not a good experience probably for the client that's sitting across the desk. I have to find services to be of assistance. And it is just paying attention to your community, seeing where we can broaden safety nets, increase more and more services. That's been the goal.